All right, welcome back to another video. This is going to be how to do front and rear pads on a Subaru Forrester. This one is specifically a 2016, but this falls between 2012 to 2019, I believe. So this will be a step-by-step tutorial guide on how to do it. First things first, if you're doing your fronts or your rears, you're going to be having to elevate the vehicle up, so find a proper, safe jacking point. And we're going to take a 19mm socket and we're going to break those lug nuts off, those 5 right there. One's got a wheel lock key, so if you have a wheel lock key, make sure you use it. First things first, lift up the car and take off the wheel. All right, so after you've lifted up the vehicle up and you've taken off the wheels that you're going to be working on, whether you're doing front or you're doing rear, and what you're going to do next is you're going to come and you will need a ratchet, a 3/8 ratchet. If you have a power ratchet, that also helps. A 14mm for the caliper bracket pin and a 18mm for the caliper bracket. I'm only doing pads because the rotors are still good, but if you're doing rotors, take off your caliper first, then take off your caliper bracket, and then you will be able to release the rotor. If your rotor is stuck on it, you can just bang on it, but this one's already pretty loose, so the majority of the time they are. But like I said, we're only doing pads on this one. So crack that 14mm loose and go from there. After you have removed your caliper bolt pins here for your sliders, rest your caliper up top. Never let it dangle. If you have a hook, that would help, or a bungee cord. So now what we're going to do is we're going to recoil these 2 pistons in there. It is a dual piston caliper, so if you were to put a pad here in the middle and have a C-clamp and tighten it this way, you would just have to go a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. Or you can pick up one of these tools. It's an easy ratcheting tool, just like that. And you basically just ratchet it back into position. I always like to take the brake fluid cap off over here, right in front of the driver's seat. Take it off so it doesn't have any pressure or anything built up in there, so you can blow the top or a seal. So with the ratcheting tool, basically just do this, and it will actually push the pistons back in. Like so, pushing them in at the same time. It's a sweet tool. You can pick it up your local parts supplier, or you can pick it up on Amazon. To peel off your old pads if they're stuck, you can use a flathead and push them in and literally just pop them off. I always lubricate here to make it easy sliding back and forth, so when the vehicle is in service, it doesn't get binded up or anything like that. If you don't have extra hardware, clean this hardware. But on your brake pad set, you should have extra hardware that it comes with. But I'm going to be installing the new pad now, after I clean this hardware kit. For caliper slider grease, I usually use Easy Slide by Clean Flow. I've always used it, it's great stuff. But this is the one that I use. So I will be greasing up the slider pins and cleaning them up here. Cleaning this bracket up, and just where I put that dab there to show you as an example, that's where I put it, so it runs along the track easy. But yeah, clean it up, and then you're gonna replace your pads. Quick tip, make sure that your squealer goes on the back side of the rotor. Some of them will come with an actual new one on this side as well. Just peel it off. You don't need 2 squealers, have this one on the back side. All right, so now that you got your pads on, you're gonna pull out the slider pins that are gonna be on this side and this side, and you're gonna clean them up, okay? When you do take them off, there's a rubber boot that sits just here. Make sure it doesn't fall off. If it does fall off, put it back on, because you do need to have that on there. You're gonna wanna put a Easy Slide lubricant here as well as here, and you're gonna wanna rub that all over the slider pin before you put it back inside here. There's one here, and then there's one just above there. So after you've got your caliper back on, and this has been lubricated, and so your upper and lower slider pin has been lubricated, you're gonna tighten it down with a 14mm socket, okay? So you can use a ratchet, you can use whatever method you want. Tighten them down, and then I always use a ratchet after to make it snug. All right, and that is how you do front pads on a Subaru Forester. So just a quick recap, 19mm socket to take off your lug nuts, take the wheel off. Once the wheel is off, 14mm socket to remove the caliper slider pins 1 and 2, and then if you're taking off the caliper to change your rotors, you want to come up here, and up here is an 18mm. You want to break that loose and take that off. Recoil the piston back into the caliper, and then replace your pads, replace your hardware, or clean up your hardware kit, replace your rotor if you're doing that. Put it back together, other way around. and then tighten it all down. And then that's how you do it for the front. Now we're gonna move to the back. All right, so for the rear, you're gonna use a 14 millimeter here. If you're replacing the caliper bracket or you're taking off the rotor, that's also a 14 here. One up here, one down low. When you're doing the rears, make sure that your handbrake is down so you have free flow to allow your rotor to turn. If you don't, your caliper's not gonna recoil, you won't be able to get this off. So crack that loose, 14, and then if you're doing your rotor, 14. All right, so now that the 14s have been removed, shimmy it off. This is a single piston caliper, so you can use whatever method you want. Because it's such a smaller diameter, I'm probably just gonna use a brake pad and a C-clamp because I can't get my tool in there. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Now that I got my C-clamp set up, it's very easy. Just literally push the piston back in. Very straightforward. Keep going until it's completely flush. Okay, there you go. Back it off. Remove your C-clamp. Remove your old pad. Pistons back in. Change your brake pads. After you got your new pads in, don't forget to pull out your caliper slider pin up here and down here. You want to clean it off completely. Add new lubrication to it. Rub it all the way around. Slide it back in the hole. Make sure the boot attaches to it. And then when you're taking it out, pull the rubber boot down with one finger and push it open with the other. With a rag, clean it off. Add new lubrication to it. And slide it back in, making sure that the boot attaches itself to it. You don't have to do this, but I always put lubrication on the back of each pad that I install. Just helps with squeaking and silence. So I just rub it here and rub it there. When you've done that, take a caliper that you've already recoiled the piston in, slap it back over top, just like so. Make sure you push the tab down so that your caliper can slide over top of it. And then after you've done that, you're gonna get your caliper bolts, slider pin bolts, and you're gonna put them in. Top and bottom. Okay, tighten them up, make sure that they're nice and snug. Once they're nice and snug, you can put the wheel back on. If you're gonna do anything for like the bleeding of the caliper and stuff like that, which I will be doing a brake flush as well, I'm gonna keep my wheels off. You're gonna take off the piece here. If you have a tool, you can use a tool. Milwaukee has a tool where you can attach a hose to it and it'll suck it out so it keeps the brake fluid coming through here so it's nice, fresh and clean. That's what I'm gonna be using. If you don't have that and you're doing this at home, have one person in the vehicle stepping on the brake pedal, 1, 2, 3, push down and hold it. Once they're pushing down and holding it, then you could break this open. It's either gonna be an 8 or a 10. This one's probably a 10. And then all the fluid will come blurring out. To bleed into having new fluid in your lines, do it about 3 times. Okay. All right, so this will be for the rears. So this is basically how you do it for a Subaru Forester. In the back end, pretty straightforward. 14 millimeter here, 14 millimeter caliper bolt. Take them both off if you're doing your rotor. If you're not doing the rotor and you're just doing your brake pad, just take the top one off. Pull the brake pads out, replace your hardware kit because I got a new hardware kit in there, nice and shiny. Grease up the slider pins here. Recoil your piston back into your caliper with a C-clamp, and recoil that piston back in. And then put it back together. Grease up the slider pins, grease up the back of the pad to help with the squeaky noise, and that's basically it. That's how you do the rear. I've already showed you how to do the front, so this is a video on how to do front and rear for a Subaru Forester. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you found this video helpful and useful, and I will see you on the next one. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and thank you again for your support. See you on the next one. Once again, thanks for watching, and hopefully this was helpful to you. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, if you're doing this job, feel free to submit a question in the comment below. Or if I can help you with any other kind of video or anything else you're working on, feel free to send me a message and I'll make a video on how to do that for a step-by-step tutorial guide for you. Anyways, thanks for watching. Put the wheels back on. When you put them back on, 89 foot-pounds for your lug nut torque, and you want to torque those down. And then after that, you're gonna wanna do a road test. Before you even put the vehicle back into service, you're gonna press the brake pedal a few times because you've recoiled the piston in the caliper, so the pedal's gonna be pretty soft and it's gonna sink a few times. That's normal, but anyways, that's how you do it. Thanks for watching.